In the morning when I rise, give me Jesus.
Good morning. We're in Genesis, chapters 12 through 15, and there are some crazy things in there. Abram, who became Abraham, the father of God's chosen people, was deceptive and willing to give his wife to the king to save his own skin. Well, that gives me hope. It should give all of us hope, because he was not some perfect being. He was a regular guy just like you and me. And his nephew, Lot, God blessed, and God blessed Abram, so much so that they had to separate because there wasn't enough pasture for their flocks to graze. Well, they separated, and when kings came against the area where Lot had settled, they captured Lot and all of his possessions. Well, when Abram heard about that, he got his mighty men together and they went after Lot and rescued him. Well, when Abram returned from having rescued Lot, Melchizedek, the king of Salem, came out to bless Abram. And it says in Genesis 14, verses 18 through 20, Melchizedek, king of Salem, brought out bread and wine. Now he was a priest of God Most High. He blessed Abram and said, "Blessed be Abram of God Most High, possessor of heaven and earth. And blessed be God Most High, who has delivered your enemies into your hand." See, Melchizedek declared that it was God who delivered his enemies and helped him to rescue Lot and Lot's possessions. And so to remember the fact that it was God who won the victory for Abram, Melchizedek brought out bread and wine. Well, we see later in Hebrews that Jesus was a priest after the order of Melchizedek. And you'll remember, Jesus said, "Do this in remembrance of me, have bread and wine as my body and my blood." Well, I want you to also see in Genesis 15, and it's verses 5 and 6, God spoke blessing to Abram in this way. God took him outside and said, "Now look toward the heavens and count the stars, if you are able to count them." And he said to him, "So shall your descendants be." God said to Abram, "You're going to have so many descendants, as many as the stars in the sky." Can you count the stars in the sky? No. And God's saying, "You can't count your descendants, Abram." Well, at that time, Abram had no descendants, and he was over 75 years old. But it says in verse 6, "Then Abram believed in the Lord, and God reckoned it to him as righteousness." See, righteousness has always been a matter of faith. Well, I want you to see, God promised Abram that he would be the father of many nations. In chapter 12, verses 1 through 3, it says this, "Now the Lord said to Abram, go forth and from your country and from your relatives and from your father's house to the land which I will show you." God didn't even tell Abram where he was taking him, but Abram trusted God and went. "And I will make a great nation. I will bless you and make your name great, and so you shall be a blessing." God blessed him so that he would be a blessing, and that's what he does for us. "And I will bless those who bless you, and I will curse those who curse you, and in you all the families of the earth will be blessed." Now that's a promise of God, and he made a covenant. Don't miss the fact that they took animals and divided them down the middle. Now that's how they established a covenant. It's as if saying, "Be it unto me as it is to this animal if I violate the covenant." And then Abram was put to sleep, and so it was God that made the covenant so that Abram had no responsibility in the covenant is a promise of God. We'll talk some more about covenant, how God made covenant with us in Jesus that we might have eternal life with him if we'll only believe. Get a hold of this God that is blessing Abram in spite of his nonsense because Abram believed. We'll talk tomorrow. God bless.
Give me Jesus. Give me Jesus.